Welcome back to the Football Terrace. This is the Bet Victor Top 6 show. Loads to jump into, reviewing the weekend, Champions League fallout after the shambles that we witnessed today. We're going to take a look ahead of the midweek games in the Premier League as well. I'm going to touch on the news that Manchester United's game with Brentford could be called off. It is in major doubt right now. But look at this star-studded panel we have this evening for you. Egal here repping Arsenal. We've got man like Neeks 3 times in one day. Neeks on the terrace. Patrick's here. He's been taking a break along with Tottenham. No games for a while. So no heartache there, especially in the UEFA Conference South Division Vanarama.
We're still in it. We're still in it. Just.
Man like Daniel is here, and it is Daniel. Don't worry about the curtain not being there, but that is Daniel. I can assure you that's him. And of course, the queen of the terrace is back with us tonight. Anita is in the house. How's everyone doing? Everyone good? Everyone good?
Yeah, I'm brilliant, man.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
good.
I'm good.
Absolutely. It was such an interesting weekend as well. All of the big boys saved by penalties. All of the big boys living a blessed life over the course of the weekend. Arsenal back at it, firing, scoring goals, and all that jazz. Where do we start? What do you want to start with tonight?
Penalties.
Let's start with penalties. Because, you sound pretty bitter about that, Patrick, to be honest.
No, I'm not bitter. I just think it's a bit... To be fair, Chelsea's penalties were deserved. Both of the fouls on Rudiger were penalties. And I know people are making it out like, every team, all the big teams got blessed or lived a charmed life. Rudiger got fouled twice. Some of the other decisions were a bit dubious, and obviously the other guys will touch on it. But Rudiger got fouled twice. They were deserved penalties. Very naive challenges by the defenders. They stopped, Rudiger from going forward and blah, blah, blah. But some of the other decisions were a bit dodgy. And I feel if it was the other way around and it was the other team doing the exact same thing, they probably wouldn't have got it. So I want to hear what the other guys have to say about that. But yeah.
I'm going to sound like a Chelsea hater. That's because I am. No, I just hate the fans, not the club. No, the Rudiger, I messaged in the group at the time. Well, I said at the time, I didn't actually watch the games live. I saw back the highlights. I was like, damn, them Rudiger penalties were soft. Now, listen, by the letter of the law, I get the last one because he definitely kicked his foot. It wasn't enough for him to fall how he did, but the letter of the law is a penalty. You can't argue. The first one, I don't even know if that's a penalty because the ball was in front of Rudiger. The slide tackle came in the front, and he kind of got the ball. Like everything just stayed where it was. It didn't. He didn't take the man. The ball didn't go out for a corner. I was like, I'm not sure about that one. And I think obviously VAR is trying to get less involved now, but referees are also saying that they're going to give that the penalties they're going to give are going to be for you have to be more physical contact. So the first one and the second one they kind of contradict because VAR either needs to get involved or the referee shouldn't be given one of the two. So that was a bit soft. But the main night got an easy one against Norwich. So it's like I don't know.
You can't script this. Anita, one sec, just very quickly. You can't even script this. Like after the season that Man United had, where they had farcical penalties given to them. I mean, I recall Bruno Fernandes getting a penalty. I think it was against Aston Villa in the bubble, and we were just thinking when he stepped on Mings' foot.
Why was Mings' foot there? No,
and there was multiple, and we're talking about. Look, at the end of the day, in my opinion, if I want to be objective about it, the first one you can question it, but I think it can go either way because he came in dangerously. He slid in and he was sliding for time. Like
he cleaned them out, man. He cleaned them out.
If it's anywhere else on the pitch, it's a free kick. So why does it have to be in the penalty?
Yeah. I don't agree. No,
the Chelsea one.
The Chelsea ones were both penalties.
Chelsea ones were legit.
Yeah.
Even the
that was in the middle of the park, and the referee gave, say, a free kick, maybe a yellow card, or whatever. A lot of people will still say tackling's gone out of the game. That was a fair challenge. So I don't think that was a case of.
Yeah, but we're not in 2006 anymore. This isn't Ryan Giggs going in for.
But I'm just saying, those two penalties were dubious. and they both went.
We're deflecting
dubious.
because Manchester United's penalty was probably the second most outrageous one.
It was dubious. No, I agree. It was dubious.
Let me finish.
I agree.
I would say Man City's penalty was the most craziest one. Then Man City, then Manchester United. And then after that, I would say Chelsea's the bottom. You say Mo Salah's one was a little bit more crazier. And then finally, you'd say the Chelsea one.
If I'm with the Mo Salah one was a penalty.
Mo Salah put his leg in between the players.
No, but
Tyrone Mings was
right
reckless.
foot came at it on the back of his calf. However, Villa should have had a penalty. That if Alisson's hand was a foot, they would have given it as a trip. When he swiped was it Danny Ings?
Yeah, foot? Danny Ings.
I think the Man United one was very soft. It was as soft as Rudiger's second one, but by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. As I said for the Rudiger one.
It's only a penalty because it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Tommy Same exact thing happened. Harry Maguire brought him down in the box. Exact same thing. Midweek, it was not fault.
See, no, it was on a real level. Sorry to interject. What you said, that it wasn't the same as Tomiyasu's. Maguire had hold of Tomiyasu. He didn't have him by the neck and bring him down to the ground like he's playing WWE. For me, when I look at penalties this weekend, Ronaldo's was a penalty. There was so much aggression in the pull and the slam of Ronaldo, 100%. Both of Rudiger's were penalties to me. Mo Salah's definitely a penalty. The only egregious penalty this weekend was a penalty given for one hitting the stomach of a player, for stomach stroke chest first on the side, and then it hit the under, and we've still had no explanation. And then it hit the underside of the arm, which is basically up to where the sleeve line is. And I said it at the time, and still no word. If you're offside but with that part of your body, this up to the sleeve line, it can't be handball because you're offside with that part of your body because you can play the ball, right? That's the only one for me. The rest, so I get the big boys that all say.
Sorry, Terry, let's not forget about James Maddison's penalty as well. That was criminal. He literally jumped into the leg and rolled over. That one was naughty. That should have never been given.
It was. Those kind of penalties have been going on forever now. When players leave legs dangling, like it just the difference is between like Mo Salah is a diver, and people will get really angry that I've said that, but he's a very good diver. Maddison in real time, good diver, because when you watch it in normal speed, it looks like a foul. They hide behind this. I went down to protect myself, sort of thing. The problem is with some people when they dive, is their terribility. I can't remember who it was a few weeks ago, but they got caught, took like 5 steps, and then threw themselves in the air and up their back. It's like you just got to learn how to do it right. And I'm not saying it's correct, you know. And I look at the Tyrone Mings. He was reckless. He was doing what he did. He didn't actually make any movement towards Mo Salah to make that foul. He didn't try to win the ball and clip his leg. But that's just the way it is. Again, for me, the only one that was egregious was Man City's because it wasn't even handball. And City got away with one this weekend. Like the first penalty in Rudiger, which you mentioned, is basically a scissor tackle. Like even if he wins the ball cleanly, that's still a foul. I didn't think you were allowed to make that kind of challenge in the game. But like Ronaldo, to your point, Nigel, 100%. He got body slammed to the floor like he was the Rock in Survivor Series, bro. Like legit.
My point is, if you have a star like Ronaldo, certain things goes his way. Let's be honest.
This is not NBA.
And I can even double that because we bantered about the Tomiyasu situation, but I think that was a penalty as well. I think Arsenal fans can feel like they were basically a decision went against them. And
aggrieved.
You have to look at the person who's in the situation. I think you're more likely to get that if it's an attacker in that situation as well, because we know what happens in the box. They say that it was 50-50 and all of that. Look, as recently as was it not last season that Maguire rugby tackled Aspilicueta to the floor at Old Trafford, and we should have got a penalty and it wasn't given. So
and then when Callum Hudson-Odoi was playing volleyball in Stamford Bridge,
wasn't given.
But then
what
about Harry Maguire?
One sec. This is why when you debate, you need to debate clearly because I'm talking about like for like situations.
Again, I was about to give you a like for like. Aspilicueta wasn't slammed to the floor. He had all his neck, but no.
What?
No,
Terry, come on.
No, let me finish. What happens is with a lot of these that don't get given, and I'm not agreeing with it. I'm saying this is the case. When you pull on somebody or have your arms around them and then let go, it happens. Ronaldo was slammed to the floor. He was dragged all the way down and both players ended up on the floor. It's very different. It is different. It is different as far as I can see. However, I make you right though, because if you go back to there was another big decision in the City game that I thought was right but wrong. So Jimenez being sent off was right.
Yeah.
Where I say it's wrong is only a few days earlier when Arsenal played Everton, an Arsenal player, I don't remember which one it was now, stepped in front of a free kick and stopped it from being played. No booking.
It was the other way around.
Other way around then. Whatever way. Like it happened in that game and no booking was given. I almost felt like every now and then, these decisions, whether it's Ronaldo's penalty, whether it's Jimenez being sent off, you see it kind of given. And then you might go a month where you witness the same type of foul 8-9 times and it isn't given. And it's almost a case of it was a foul on Ronaldo, but so often they're not given. You only have to go back. We saw last year Man United at a game where there was 2 almost identical incidents. David De Gea was fouled by a Sheffield United player that scored from the subsequent corner. The same type of foul happened in the other end. Man United would have got an equaliser and it wasn't given. These things happen sometimes. And it is. I do get the frustration because I just want the consistency. Either book every player for blocking a quick free kick being taken or book none. Give every penalty for pulling on shirts in the box or give none. Like for me, it's either do one thing completely or don't do it at all.
The issue with the Jimenez one, the second decision was correct. The first one wasn't a yellow card.
It was soft. Yeah.
It wasn't a yellow card. So it's like, who's the referee? Is it John? Who's the referee?
Jonathan
The
Moss.
yellow card was the pull.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, you gave the first one. You must feel this is a harsh one, but I'm giving it. To then double book him when the first one was so harsh, it's like warning for one of them. Warning for the first one, booking for the second one, or booking for the first one.
Vice versa. And I agree. I agree that he deserves it.
For that sequence.
Again, people take it as City hate. I'm not hating on City. This is not even about Man City. It's about consistency in decisions, and you'll see it. If you just watch closely over the next, and you won't even these decisions won't. I'll give you an example of what I hate in football as well. Where in the first 5 minutes of a game, there's a counter attack and somebody commits a cynical foul and they're never booked. In the opening 5 to 10 minutes, you never get booked for it. But then an opponent can be booked for it at 15 minutes, 20 minutes in. It does my brain in. For me, referees should never apply. They should either always apply management of the game or never at all. It's either the rule unequivocally or you always have to manage the game. But why does a player deserve a booking after 20 minutes and a player after 5 minutes doesn't for the same foul? Makes no sense to me. It's just fucking mad. It really is.
Word to the FIA, boy, because I'm
Let's not go over that one.
It's like they gauge it. They're gauging the tempo of the game. So if something outside of the physicality of the game happens, they tend to not give it. If it's in a game where it's already physical. So
I hear that, but I think as well as I've also noticed VAR, and there's some elements of VAR that I still like, but I've noticed more and more recently things are about protecting referees. It's almost they'll overturn things if the referee doesn't kind of see it or didn't notice something, because then it isn't a mistake. But if a referee gives something that's soft or doesn't give something, and they don't want to seem to certain things they don't go and look at, and you just think to yourself, why are they not looking at that? It's very, very strange. It's very, very strange. A lot of people again talking in the comments about F1, but I think we spoke about it a lot earlier. We'll leave it there because a guy will get triggered because he just doesn't think it's a real sport.
Mario Kart.
What?
Glorified
okay,
Mario
sorry.
Kart.
Okay, we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Yeah, NFL is.
We're not doing
Man
it.
doesn't know about real sport. He's an Arsenal fan, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? He's just used to it.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
true.
better off watching Mario Karts. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. I get that. We're going to talk about some of the other things a little later. We're going to preview the games a little bit later, but there is some news this afternoon that Manchester United have worded it very, very well. But it does look like Manchester United have spoken to the Premier League essentially about the situation. These are their words actually. They've sat there because I think their words are very telling, that they've had to shut Carrington for 24 hours because a couple of players and staff members tested positive for COVID-19. But their words and their statement were, given the cancellation of training and disruption to the squad, and with the health of players and staff the priority, the club is in discussions with the Premier League as to whether it is safe for Tuesday's fixture against Brentford to continue, both from a COVID infection and player preparation perspective. The team and staff to travel to London will be deferred pending the result of the discussion. So it does sort of feel like Man United are looking at this and saying, well, we've lost a day of prep. Essentially, today would have been the day of preparation for the game, and they haven't been able to train. It looks like they're trying to get the game postponed. That's how I'm reading it. They haven't kind of said that, but the preparation bit at the end, like obviously all the other players have been tested as negative, so there is no. I'm trying not to sound disrespectful, but there isn't a problem of passing it on if you ain't got it. I think that's pretty clear. But it looks like they're trying to get the game called off in relation to that. Like, Nick, what's your take on that? Do you think they will be successful in that, or do you think maybe there's not enough cases at the club for them to win that? Because I don't think the Premier League wants to keep cancelling games.
No, they don't. The only issue is that there's a few clubs now that are reporting it as well. So Brighton's reported, I believe Leicester have, and I think there's one more. I just can't remember the other club. Other than obviously Spurs before.
Arsenal.
It was Arsenal. Arsenal's reported some. I think none of the Arsenal ones are players at the moment, though. So it's like the issue is at what point, like, what is the threshold to cancel or not cancel? Like, obviously, we know Spurs had their number, so we know if it's up to at least Spurs' number, you have to cancel based on precedent. But if Man United say have 3, and then Arsenal have 5, or Brighton have 6, what number does it then become, or what? How many days of preparation becomes acceptable? Because last season we had the same thing where some games were played, but then I think Man City, Aston Villa was off. I think it was, and they got pushed back to a later date when everyone was fit, and then people are looking at it like, wow, well, how come we had to play our game with a weakened squad or maybe less preparation, whereas Man City or Villa, whoever it was, could play their game with a fully fit squad. So is it going to be cancelled? I have a feeling that based on their the talk about obviously them going saying about preparation and the risk, etc., with Boris's recent announcements as well, I think the Premier League may play it safe. They don't want to cancel a lot of games, but the fact that Spurs already have cancelled one, I think it's like, well, we're already going to have to force in one game already. So if we just force the other postponed games in that place, then we can probably have a.
I'm going to just keep it simple. If this was the first couple of weeks of the season, they would not be canceling anything because they forced Arsenal to play. They forced other teams to continue to play, even though they had some sort of cases.
No, but you say they forced Arsenal. Arsenal turned around. Arsenal turned around, and it gone.
You'll get there. Once it became a little bit more serious and the new variant came and everything else, I think that's where they're now being more precautious. I think, as you said, Terry, on an earlier stream, it's almost like people are trying to say you have to be as serious as the government. You have to be more serious about it. So they're taking more precautions. That's why. I'm not even trying to make this about my club. I'm just saying.
I don't get it. Does anyone at Manchester United in the team, the first team, does anyone have COVID? Are there any cases in there?
Yeah, I think there's a couple who tested positive after. Yeah. So they all tested negative before the Norwich game.
Yeah.
But then when they came in and training the next day, about 2 or 3 tested positive. I don't know who though.
So then it just has to be cancelled. Like, do you know what I mean? It creates precedence. 1, 2. This COVID thing, this new Omega variant, whatever the variant's called,
Omarion.
It is Omarion variant. Literally, it is spreading like wildfire. So there's only one solution, and it's just to cancel the entire game. And
the problem, I don't disagree with you. The problem is that I think it was Brighton and Leicester had already had some COVID cases already, and they had to play. I say had to play. I don't think they appealed to actually get the game postponed, but they played with those. And I don't know what the number was. That's the only thing. But obviously, this was before the latest announcement from the government.
Okay, well, a latest announcement has been, announced, and everyone has to abide by these rules. And if it's not safe for people to play football because of this new variant, then they shouldn't play it, full stop. And if Brighton didn't protest it, like, obviously that it's not fair on them. However, they should have protested it, and they didn't, if they didn't protest it. So at the end of the day, everyone's just got to keep safe. You cancel the game, you move on. Simple.
Facts.
In my opinion. There's enough time to kind of get these games fixed in at some point.
Yeah, I think the risk of playing is that
also apologies to Arsenal. They got done dirty. Apologies to Arsenal. They got done dirty at the beginning of the season. Honestly, we got done dirty.
Yeah, we had 5 cases out.
That's mad.
I think again, it's I don't like to get too controversial with it, but it's because if you go back 3 or 4 months, the world has stopped sort of worrying about it, and now with this new variant, which I'm not familiar with because I haven't watched any piece of news about COVID for over a year now because I just can't. But it's like it's now everyone's exceedingly scared again. There's talk of lockdowns again, and it's kind of the big talking point. You know, I get that Arsenal will feel like that, but as you're pulling it right, Gal, politically the landscape has changed again, and we all know that PR is a big thing for clubs and a big thing for the FA. Like, and right now, it's if they go ahead with these games, I don't want it to be cancelled or postponed because I kind of feel like, not that I get there's a day of preparation that's kind of been missing in many ways, but it's a couple of people at the club, and there's been clubs, as you said, over the course of since this season, lots of clubs have had 1, 2, 3 people at the club test positive at any one time, and there's never been a big song and dance. There now is, and I understand why, but I do feel it's more of a political stance. It's more of a we have to be seen to be doing the right thing, and it's going to end up. And I get this, and the safety of the players and everything, and I totally get that. I totally get it. But as you say, the safety of players wasn't being considered when Arsenal were made to play after 5 cases. There wasn't even talk about it being cancelled. It wasn't even a thing. But as you say,
they never told us it was COVID until after the game was played.
I thought you had injuries. Like, I was thinking maybe your players are injured. I thought it was injuries.
They didn't tell us why Aubameyang and Lacazette and these guys were not even in the team.
I remember, yeah.
Well, Aubameyang's not in the team right now.
But you're better about Aubameyang, that's why.
I'm not in the team right now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's one of them.
Dead banter. Nah, dead banter. Any one of you guys, listen. Any one of you guys who have two of your only like senior strikers out, you're gonna.
We had Lukaku out for time.
Yeah, but did you have Lukaku and Werner out for like 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Harry Kane's been out all season, and we're doing
How did your attack look?
In fairness,
We scored 7, then 3, then 4. Like we've been fine.
In fairness, Gal, you guys are better without Aubameyang.
Exactly. Harry Kane's been out all season. We're doing all right as well.
We can't have Balogun. We can't have Balogun starting a Premier League game. Come on.
Yeah, but he's better than Nketiah.
I don't know about that. At this point,
I'm telling you now.
At this point, I would rather have Martinelli and Lacazette over Balogun or Eddie Nketiah. That's my.
I get how you feel, but as I say, these things are just until I don't know, until things look. I kind of feel like if the world wasn't panicking about COVID again, this wouldn't even be news. It's just how things are. Like if from next month it becomes not a big thing to like worry about COVID again, and a club has 10 cases, they'll be made to play. It's just what's the Overton window changes? What's the general consensus with the public? Right, it's this. We better be seen to be. It's always about we've got to be seen to be doing the right thing rather than doing what they want. Like I've always felt like with those decisions there. But yeah, Man United versus Brentford could be. I mean, I don't know how late they're leaving. I mean, the game's in 24 hours time, and there's still no update. Like that's the crazy thing for me. But then that'll also be an issue. United haven't travelled down yet. They normally would have travelled down by now. So they haven't left yet, which means they're going to end up leaving later. The game preparation is really off. And it's almost an element of they could have still sent the squad down. And I know you don't want to travel to London and have to travel back. But if the Premier League do make us play,
you want to be in the best position to.
You want to be in the best position to do it. And again, they can travel down in the bubble. They're already tested as negative. You stay, like I'm sure they've got protocols in place where they're going to stay is a protected environment as well. Like it's all part of the process that's back in place. But we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours or so. In terms of other shambles today, the Champions League. Champions League.
Oh, what a shambles!
I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
First the FIA, then UEFA. I'm thinking, wow, what's next?
UEFA.
UEFA. I saw your tweet.
I was going to ask you a question. Do you think, like, and there's something I was thinking about when I saw what happened and everything. Like, do you think if we watched the tapes of years gone by, you could potentially find that same error, but it just never happened in that way? So you see how Real Madrid drew Benfica. I mean, who did they draw first? Was it Benfica?
Yeah, Benfica, yeah.
And it could have been a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake because they were just lucky it wasn't a mistake. Do you think that's happened?
Daniel,
Somebody's going through all those videos right now. You'll see it on Twitter soon.
I literally did a video on this earlier where I went through other incidents like this in the past. So there was an incident a couple of years ago where the guy took the paper out of the ball, and instead of showing it right away, he went under the table and then showed it. There was another incident where Roberto Carlos or somebody couldn't open the ball. There was another incident where they literally had to they looked at the paper and they're like, what's going on here? It's blank. There's so many different incidents in the past. You guys gotta find out. There's so many incidents like this in the past. It's crazy. I think the most craziest one was the ball was frozen, or it couldn't open. He couldn't open it. He was trying his best.
Yeah, I remember that one. I actually remember that.
Yeah, and I think those things happen, and it would be a case of rewatching it again to see. You know, like say you couldn't get that ball open, and then they just pick another ball out, and it's a different team. And then I'd want to see who was in that other ball, you know, because that isn't fair as an example. I'd have to watch the whole thing. I think what about today, what stood out is that it was very much a case of we saw the full thing. I don't know if it's happened before, because I do think people would have picked up on it, and maybe not fans of English clubs, but fans of the you know, let's not forget that the fans in Spain and France and Italy and other parts of Europe are equally on Twitter and watching these things. And I actually think that's why the result was turned around today. It wasn't because Man United were overtly aggrieved. It's because there were 2 or 3 other big European clubs that were pushing for that draw to re-happen. But it was a shambles. I mean, to watch that unfold, you got to think one of the biggest sporting organizations in the world, blaming it then on the sort of outsourced company. Yeah, it's like it ain't on them; it's on you, because you hired them at the end of the day. And it's just, it's a bit like when a footballer's social media team like posts something sort of ridiculous at the wrong time and get something wrong. It's like, I get that that Jesse Lingard didn't personally post it, but he hired that company. It's still on Jesse Lingard, and I'm just using him as an example. I think he tweeted once in the middle of a Munich air disaster, like anniversary event that he was sitting at, and he was tweeting something about a product he was selling at the same time. Like, that's still on Jesse Lingard. He hired that team. But yeah, the UEFA today let themselves down. I suppose that Chelsea won't care, because they ended up with the same team, which was a 1,000,000 to 1 shot, and they ended up with the same team again. In terms of the draw, though, what do people think of the draw from the English team's point of view in terms of going through to the quarterfinals? Chelsea are through, as far as everyone's concerned. City got Sporting, so that should be pretty easy. The hardest 2 ties were Liverpool, Inter, who probably will feel slightly aggrieved. I know they're very confident they can beat, but they went from Salzburg to Inter. That's probably the biggest step up of any club, really, in that draw. And Man United got Atletico. Like, what are we thinking about those 2 games?
I'll let you look up first. I was on the stream, so I'll let you look up first.
Oh, do you know what? Okay. For Chelsea, right? I'm not too sure if we should be as confident as we are right now, because the way we're in a pickle at the moment in our club, let's like, this was a win for us. It was, but at the same time, if we have the same issues happening in February, they're not a bad side, but given that they're doing really badly in League One right now, they are not a terrible side. They can still pick up a result across 2 legs. You know, anything can happen. I still put Chelsea down to win, but again, anything can happen. Now, I'm licking my lips at the Man United Atletico joint. Because I'm thinking, is Cristiano Ronaldo going to go on a mad one? Is Atletico going to feel aggrieved by Cristiano Ronaldo? Are they going to want to play that bit much better? Is it going to be like, I don't know. I'm just a bit, I'm a bit skeptical about the Atletico one. I feel like they're going to want to have to prove something, get past the round of 16 because they failed to do it against Chelsea, and they're going to want to come out and fight for their lives and get to that quarterfinal. So that one's going to be a really interesting one. Plus, I want to see Ronaldo do that celebration again. I really want to see that happen.
The thing with the draw, it's like the previous draw with PSG, Man United, that was like that was a Hollywood draw. That was the entertainment, the lights, the stars.
PSG, that was sad, you know.
But on a football level, I think the Man United Atletico one is a more intriguing football battle, because I mean, well, I wanted to say closer because I think Man United had a good chance of beating PSG. PSG are not that good. They're a good side, but for the amount they got a lot of star players. But I would say Atletico is more of a team than PSG. Now, of course, come February, we don't know how it's going to look now. But as we stay right now, Atletico are more of a team than than PSG. But for me, on a tactical level, I think the kind of work that Simeone is going to do, and hopefully the kind of work that Rangnick's going to be doing, it's going to be like very, very close, a tight game, and a goal here, a goal there. Whereas the PSG Man United, it could be like end to end. It probably will be end to end, and basically a straight shootout. So I think I'm very intrigued. We haven't played Atletico in the Champions League. I don't remember any game against Atletico. So I'm more intrigued than this, apart from playing PSG 3 years in a row. Like, I didn't really want that again.
Not gonna lie, I did want the PSG joint. I really, really wanted that one purely because the Messi, Ronaldo type of atmosphere. Like I really wanted that, but like you said, it's gonna be a sick football battle because I want to see, can United break down a quality low block? Can they do it? That's what I want to see. Can Rangnick really do it? I want to see if he can run that.
And you're right. And I think we spoke about it on the show earlier during the draw that I think assessing Man United's chances now is premature. Let's see what Rangnick develops the team into over the next 2 months. I think the first fixture is literally 2 months today in terms of date-wise, 13th of February, or in that round. So there's 2 months. So you're absolutely right, Nate. So I'm intrigued by it, but mainly from the standpoint of where are Man United going to be at that moment in time. But you could argue that with the PSGs and whoever else. PSG could really click into gear by then. So right now everyone's looking at Real Madrid. They're going to go through, but it would be quite nice to see Messi go out at that very early stage of the tournament. Hopefully Ronaldo goes further proving his GOAT state, especially when it comes to Champions League is the GOAT. But yeah, it's going to be intriguing. How about yourself, Pat? Like obviously you're sort of watching it as a kind of neutral really at the minute, the Champions League, but what were the standout ties for you?
I'm really liking the Inter-Liverpool tie. I think that's got a lot of juicy dynamics to it. Obviously, Liverpool in scintillating form. Inter a low-key, good team as well. They're slept on. I think that would be a good one. And I like the PSG-Real Madrid tie just because of all the star-studded names there. Benzema, Vinicius Jr. is looking really good. Ancelotti looks like he's starting to get that team to tick. And then obviously, like you said, Terry, I really want to see Poch do well at PSG. And he's got like 2 months to really get that front three gelling and doing something. And also the midfield for PSG, they're not a team at the moment. They're just a lot of players just thrown together. But I want to see if Poch, I'm rooting for Poch to do well, obviously, as the ex-Spurs coach and pretty much the coach that we've been most connected with. There's still question marks over Pochettino at the moment. I want to see him do well. So he's got 2 months to really get that team ticking. And then we can all judge him and see how good he really is.
Yeah, no, I get you wanting to do well. It's interesting that we had the Euro expert on earlier that sort of spends a lot of time studying these European teams, and he's saying it's the worst sort of goal. I think he was using XG, like in terms of chances they create as a team. PSG, it's the worst they've been since the Qatari family took over under Poch. And when you think that you've got Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, and I think with Neymar and Messi, you've got guys that score but create at the same time. To have the lowest XG in the Qatar, basically since the Qatari, since they took over, that's when PSG were born. I know they're older than that, but for me, PSG were a nothing team until that point. So, basically the entire history, this is the worst PSG team they've had.
It's a weird one because they.
That's why winning the league for me is a nonsense over there. Because they can be playing badly and want to sack managers, but they're still winning their league. Like that
comfortably as well. Comfortably.
You said about judging Poch. We can really judge Poch. I'm already judging him. That's my back sat there, my G. I'm already judging him. Let's not get it twisted.
Oh man,
Poch needs to be looked at under the light.
He does.
Last season even, because this is an absolute farce. I'm so sorry. You've got Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe in your team, and your XG is the lowest it's been.
Maria.
I'm so sorry. That is a farce. I'm judging him already.
Do you guys think this is a bit random, but do you guys think he needs to drop one of the big three to get the team to click?
I was just about to say
Neymar is injured, so basically
he's already one of them was dropped by default.
I know, but
I think they perform better when it is 2 out of the 3 because you then get the balance that you need. Because again, if you highlight that Man City game, because that is how they would judge themselves. You're facing one of the best teams in the tournament and one of the favorites. Like the disconnect between the attack and the midfield and basically the disconnect throughout the whole team. But essentially, from that attack to the midfield is just crazy. Like, there's so many gaps. They pretend as if they're running, but if they don't get it at the first time, there's no pressure after that. I mean, Messi doesn't run anymore. Like, that's just not what he's there to do. Neymar doesn't really run either. I think Mbappe sometimes pretends like he's putting pressure on the ball. No, because you know, this is how it's basically like when those guys, that, and obviously you see it when you go. I don't know if you guys watch Sunday League and stuff like that. So those guys basically, the ball's in the air, and they're not going for the header, but they just jump anyway.
Yeah. Do you know it reminds me of, like what they call the dad run. You know, when like a dad, like he runs like that running, but he's like he's running fast, but he's really walking, but he looks like he's running. You know what I mean? That's what it's like. It looks like they're sprinting, but they're never going to get there. Or I think like there's a certain goalkeeper in the Premier League at the minute that makes basic saves, but then kind of dives off in the air.
Oh yeah, Terry, say the name. Say the name. You all know who you're talking about.
Eddie. Or Aaron.
He made a save, He made a save on the weekend, that was right at him, but he put an outstretched arm to it, and the commentator was like, a brilliant, world-class save from Aaron Ramsdale.
You see? I love this. Inject it. Literally, I love this. We got a great player on our hands, and you guys keep talking about him. This is a Champions League segment, and you're bringing up Arsenal. Why? Why?
Because we're taking the piss.
You can't stay on the topic. Anyways, I would say it's more like a pump fake. He doesn't really go for it, but he fakes like he's gonna go for it to try to get the players off hand.
You're right.
What he does, and it's kind of funny.
I totally get it. Like PSG is a vanity project, which, in my opinion, hasn't worked.
They lack the midfield
because they have more money than anybody else in their league. So they're always going to win it. And the fact they lost the league last year to Lille, it's the most embarrassing. It's more embarrassing than anything that's happened to a contemporary club in the last 10, 15 years. To lose when you're that much the favourites, when you have that much of a monopoly. It's, honest to God, it's like Amir Khan and his weak jaw knocking out Anthony Joshua. That's, to me, what happened last year. It shouldn't happen. It's just crazy. It's a bit like you guys watch F1. It's been brought up. I don't know what the worst cars are. If the person that drives the worst car was to win the championship, that's essentially what happened. Or one of the middle cars was to beat one of the stars.
That would be funny.
Imagine us winning the championship.
And it shouldn't ever happen. And I think PSG's vanity project is it. And every manager has suffered the same problems at that club. Ego issues, players not following what they want them to do. So as much as we are judging Poch, and I think people are right to, everybody judged Tuchel. And then that's the reason why a lot of people were umming and ahhing about his appointment at Chelsea. And the difference in the turnaround has been massive. I do feel like PSG is a poison chalice in many ways. I really do think they're not run like Man City and like Chelsea are, and they're not in a competitive league. So I almost think there's this element of they get to switch off for like 80% of the year. They only have to try and turn up for Champions League games. They basically play in one tournament.
No, but Terry, the managers do not control the destiny of the team. They're not the bosses of the team. The players control the destiny of the team. The players control everything. If a player comes into the team, he's told this is your team. If a manager comes into the team, he's told we are telling you which players we're going to give you.
I hear you. Because if all three of them are fit, I don't. If Poch say dropped one of them, he would have to have gone. He has to have 100% record. Because if one of those games is lost, and even if he doesn't, there's going to be uproar. That person's probably going to be in talking to the director or the president or something.
Has Poch force? Correct me if I'm wrong, for sure. And people in the comments correct me as well. But the start of the season, Messi wasn't playing, was he?
No, you're right. Messi wasn't playing.
Has been subbed off. Yeah. Exactly. Messi has been subbed off a few times as well. So it's not like he's not gambling. He is trying to find the solutions. And this is where I say I'm judging him. He's not finding the solutions. And he's got star-studded players in his team that can come off the bench. You look at PSG bench. When those three are starting, you still have the likes of Di Maria there. Is Icardi, he's still even there. You have a lot of things to use to kind of play around the idea. For example, we spent 97 million on Lukaku. Lukaku held the bench last game because he did not play well in the game before. That's just how it goes. And as a manager, you've got to have the balls to do that. And Tuchel sometimes had the balls to do that when he was at PSG. Sometimes Mbappe wouldn't play. That's when all of the rumors started that Mbappe and Tuchel had fallen out. Mbappe got subbed off. It happens when you're a manager with the clout, with the balls, and you can do that. You will do that, and you'll try and find a way to make it happen. So I'm just not hearing it.
No, but this is why I'm saying that we're judging Poch, or I'm going to judge, because it's knockout football. You don't have any time to get it wrong. You know, those two ties, if you lose them or he messes up, he's out. We saw what happened to Pep in the final when he overthought it. He played into Chelsea's hands. Don't get me wrong, you guys were good on the day, but Pep was also part of the problem. So, you know, they're sitting pretty in the league. They topped their group in the Champions League. So far, even though they don't look great, you know, on the eye, they are still doing well. But knockout football is a totally different. PSG, they topped their group, right?
Man City topped the group, no?
Oh, it's my bad. So now, so my apologies. So yeah, but they basically going back to my point, they're sitting pretty in the league, and obviously knockout football now is a different animal. So you know, everyone knows that PSG should win the Champions League. If you look at their squad, player for player, and the amount of money they've invested in.
I hear that. In terms of the odds, I want to take a quick look at the odds here with Bet Victor. As you can see, all the links to the different odds are in our description below. So go and sign up to your free account now with our title sponsors. Taking a look at this now, as you can see, Man City are still the favourites, which I think's mad. Personally, they've never won the damn thing, right? They've gone out. Like, they never won the damn thing, but they're the favourites, which is cool, at 3-1. Bayern Munich are rated as second favourites, 7-2. Liverpool, 5-1. Chelsea, 7-1 to win it, followed by PSG at 9-1. Ajax are currently ranked higher than Real Madrid and Manchester United to win it. Man United and Real Madrid both on 16-1 to win this. Like, when you think about as things stand right now, what are you all saying in terms of favourites? Do you agree with Manchester City being the favourites to win it?
I think
no. I think based on the draw and obviously the quality of the sides, Bayern should be above City. Because, like you said, Man City have no precedence of winning, no pedigree of winning it. Granted, you know, Bayern were knocked out before Man City last year, but I think we can all say if Lewandowski was fit, they go through, and it's a different kettle of fish. I think Bayern should be much higher favourites, or not much higher, but higher first favourites based on the draw and the quality of the team and their history in the Champions League, recent history.
I don't know, right? I think and maybe it's just, you know, superstitions, but more time the team like Man City gets to the final, they come back the next year and they try and go for the final again. Do you get? And they've still got the same caliber of players. They've still got the capacity to do it. And I've said it from the jump, from when this season started, Man City's ultimate goal is to win this Champions League this season. Not next season, this season, because no one knows if Pep is going to be staying on onto the next season. So if it comes down to it, they are going to throw an arm and a leg at this Champions League. So I do think City are favourites, and I would put them as favourites too, because if anyone wants it more than anyone, it is City. City want this so badly, and Pep Guardiola wants this so badly. And that's why I've put them as my favourite, because when you have your eye on the prize and you want it that bad, you will make it to the final. And I don't see Pep losing 2 finals on a bounce. But again, that's just me. And then you look at the draw that they have for the round of 16. They've got Sporting. No disrespect to Sporting, no disrespect at all. But that is an easy route straight to the quarterfinal, right? And from that point on, I'm not sure what it will take to stop Manchester City unless they play another England team.
But the thing is, obviously, sorry, go on.
Just very quickly, like, I obviously echo what you said, and I think in years gone by anyway, year in, year out, the round of 16 has proved never to be an issue for Man City. They always make it through. I don't think I even remember them having a tough round of 16 tie where they've had to really flesh their muscles. So they will go through. We know this, and I do echo the thoughts, because I even said this. I said that one of the biggest reasons why I thought Chelsea would beat Man City is because this was Man City's first final, and we don't necessarily see teams win their first final, especially in the Champions League. Like, it rarely happens, innit? So, and if they do, like, you have to come back. You need to feel that pain, know how it feels to get there, and then you come back stronger and you know what to do. But if we're talking about odds, I understand why they're number one. And if we're talking about me, if I had a betting company, I'd make Man City odds on favourites to win the Champions League. However, if I'm talking about just ranking my favourites objectively and looking at it, I wouldn't have them as my favourites. But between Man City, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and Chelsea, I think you're literally comparing apples and oranges. I think any one of those 4 teams, in my opinion, are in the best position to win it.
Yeah,
who should be bigger favorites, Chelsea or Liverpool, based off of the back of the last season and going into this season?
Good question. I would say Chelsea having won it last year, for me, makes them slightly longer odds than Liverpool, because the probability and chance of winning it 2 years running shrinks their chances. It's very rarely happened. And Real Madrid doing that 3-peat wasn't only an amazing achievement, it's practically an impossible achievement. I don't even think it's ever happened post World War II in the old European Cup either. So it's almost a well-deserved, but an anomaly. You know, retaining titles and trophies is so hard. Like, you think about the Premier League, it was over a decade before a team returned. Man United won 3 on the bounce. It took a decade for a team to do it. Like, it's such a hard thing to do. So I would put Liverpool. I think Liverpool are being hard done by, actually. So when it comes to the bet I'm going to put on, I'm looking here at Liverpool at 5-1 as such good odds, because Liverpool have such a chance, such a great chance of winning this. And at 5-1, that represents great money. I also think Real Madrid at 16-1 is mad. I'm not saying they're the best team in Europe, but I think 16-1, I'd never write Real Madrid off. Does that make sense? Like, you can't.
Wait, I just clocked. They've got PSG higher favourites than Real Madrid, so they're predicting PSG to beat Real Madrid.
They must be. There must be.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I would as well.
I've got Real Madrid all over that. I've got Real Madrid all over that.
They also have Manchester United being Atletico. So let's be real.
Yeah, but I understand that more. I understand that more. Atletico have never won the Champions League. Atletico are we're both struggling this season. But if you're talking player for player or squad for squad, I would say Man United have a better squad than Atletico. That's me personally. I don't know if you might disagree. I think so.
I don't think you have a better squad, but you have a better starting 11 though.
All right, maybe starting 11. Okay, maybe starting 11. But I think Atletico never won it. They got to 2 finals, lost both of them. They haven't reached the final since then. So it's like we're both in the same. We're both in the same situation. We've been failing the Champions League in the last few years.
Terry, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and the fact that it's being played in Russia, I believe that Chelsea are going to get to that final, and I think it's going to be a rematch from last year's final. And this time, City might get their revenge. So I'm putting my money on City.
There we go. So you're going with City. So we'll do a couple on this. So I'm gonna do Liverpool here. I'm gonna put a quick bet on here on Liverpool with the form they're in. I'm gonna put a little £2.50 on Liverpool bringing in the Champions League this year. That's my personal bet. I know Anita said City as a favourite. So Gal said City. Neeks, Patrick, Dan, what are you saying, boys?
Bayern. I like Liverpool bet based on the odds. But Bayern for me.
I'm gonna go Liverpool.
You Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I just think Jurgen Klopp knows how to do it. This team knows how to do it. They're dangerous, man. They score a lot of goals. Defensively, are looking a lot more assured. I don't see why not. I really don't.
You know what, Terry? Just for the sake of it, I want to see Chelsea win it. Do just to jinx them. Because last time I said
this guy.
Last time I said Chelsea were not going to win it, and they won it. So hopefully I can jinx them.
Take away your energy.
Pop £10 on that. I got you next time.
Chelsea in the Champions League. We don't even ever. We don't even entertain the London conversation. It's not even a thing to discuss on podcast.
Yeah, do you know what?
The thing is, you started this conversation right now.
I don't want Chelsea to win it, because then Chelsea then go into a conversation of having a better. There's an argument of having a better European pedigree than Man United, because you matches on 3, but then you've done back-to-backs, which from an achievement point of view is huge. I'm being really fair about it. It's true. It is massive. Like, it's so.
Come on, Neil.
Exactly, like they got to go out. That's what's happening with it. But I just put a little bet on City to do it. I'm just going to throw a few quid on Real Madrid as well, because I feel like at 16-1, and the draw could be a little bit favourable. A few teams could knock it. I think 16. I'm actually going to stick £5 at 16-1
Real Madrid ain't beating PSG. No way. They're not.
They are. They're gonna beat.
They're not. They're not.
I'm gonna put that on. I'm putting that on now. That's locked in as my
Patrick,
winnings.
if both teams are fit, Real Madrid are winning. Vinicius and Benzema are cooking there.
Come on, Poch, you got 2 months to get it right. Get it
Poch,
right.
what does that
Get
even
it
mean?
right, Poch.
You're helping my argument. Poch, yeah, I agree. Poch,
I think we're doing. No, look, I think I had Real Madrid winning that one. I wouldn't mind anyway. Messi and Ronaldo both going out in the round of 16. That would be fine with me.
If Ancelotti wins a fourth,
oh yeah, I know.
What are we saying?
Well, again, he moves. First of all, he's already one of the goats, but yeah, 4 of them.
He's a criminal though. He's a criminal because that Everton thing will not get spoken about.
The way he ducked out is mad. He was gone just like that. Packed his bags. He was gone.
What did you expect him to do? Real Madrid come calling. You were packing your bags instantly.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing he could have done in that situation.
He proper left. It's funny. The way he left was hilarious. It really was. Viewers, we're going to be talking Premier League fixtures coming up next with a few big talking points, including the disgraceful behaviour of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And we're going to take a look ahead of some of the big midweek clashes. So stay with us. Before that, though, let's take a look at the Football Terrace competition. So we are giving away a PlayStation 5, a pair of football boots, a limited edition Boohoo Man hoodie, and £100 in cash. All you need to do is guess the Football Terrace secret phrase. It's in that little gold envelope behind me. It should be nearest me, but it isn't. It's in there. I've given out so many clues, and I cannot believe for the life of me that nobody's got it right yet. The clues are very simple. Arsenal have a major connection. So do Tottenham and Liverpool. So does the Manchester derby. Rivals hate it, but you love it when it happens to you. The name Myrtle is a big clue. And Michael Owen is a massive clue. All these things are there. If we hit, we're only on 256 likes on this stream, which is a madness. If we hit over 1,000 likes, I'm going to give you the biggest and the best clue that will bring 3 of the clues together with one little word, and then you should be guessing it from there. So get those super chats in. Get that done right now. Make sure that like button is being smashed also. And let's delve in to the Premier League previews. So the Premier League is back. Christmas fixtures are here, which I love the Christmas period because there's just games every single day. And I want to start off with one of the big clashes, which is going to be Arsenal versus West Ham. West Ham, who it's one of the reasons why I actually don't want Man United game to be off, because there's an opportunity this week for Man United to go back into the fourth place positions straight away after looking like that could have been away from us 2 weeks ago. But West Ham, Arsenal go head to head. But before we get into the game, Miguel, I really want your take on the disciplinary issues you've had with your captain, your club captain, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And do you feel that he should be kept at the club? Should he be sold? Should he be stripped of the captaincy after disrespecting you and all your fans again?
Okay, so the information that came out is that he went to go see his mother, came back late from the flight, issues with COVID, ended up getting told to go home from training and missed the game due to all those issues. And this is supposed to be a guy who's supposed to be our leader, our captain, the guy who's supposed to push us through games. And the issue I've always had with him is his head drops immediately when we go down, and he doesn't show enough leadership on the pitch. He's somebody who used to lead by example. He doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't score the goals. He doesn't contribute, really. And in games, when he's not scoring, he's utterly useless. We're playing with 10 men sometimes. So at this point, I generally do believe that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang needs to go. I've been saying it from time. I've been kind of just backing him because he's our guy and he hasn't been doing anything wrong. But right now, I'm not going to lie to you, he looks past his best, and it might be best for both Arsenal and for him to move on. I don't know if he's going to move on in January or if he's going to move on at the end of the season. But personally, right now, Lacazette offers us more leadership and he offers more to the side going forward.
So when it comes to disciplinary issues, like Dan, like I read today was, he was given permission to go home, then he was late coming back and everything else. There's also this talk of a tattoo that he was getting as well. I'm not too sure exactly what this is.
Nothing to do with it. It was just a rumor.
Okay, so nothing to do with it. I mean, it's not the first time, Daniel, that he's been dropped from an Arsenal squad for disciplinary issues. Like, what's your take?
Yeah. Look, I think the second time to be dropped for disciplinary issues, out of the squad, not even to make. I think the first time as well, he didn't even make the squad as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miguel. By the same manager
this season,
so in the same regime. Yeah, is I think is nuts to me. The fact that he can possibly still have the captaincy for one. I mean, let me set the scene. I mean, this was someone who was seen as Arsenal's saviour. There was talk about him possibly getting a statue because of how much he meant to the fans. No, it's true. There was. The contract situation was such a big thing. Ian Wright walked out, did an Instagram live. They walked out onto Emirates. They did an interview there. Like, this was seen as almost as big as like
Ronaldo returning.
No, legit. Like, let's call a spade a spade. It was almost seen as Ronaldo returning. Like, it was that big of a thing. They brought the club legends involved. He was maybe being inducted as one of the club legends, and I think he's done your club a real disservice. And look, at the end of the day, I don't think because I listened to TalkSport and someone was saying how they don't think the money is the reason why he's down tools, because like he was getting a lot of money before anyway, and it's true. I don't think the money has necessarily been the reason why he's down tooled, but I think after or following that contract, he's not been able to maintain the standards that he himself has set. And that is a problem, because you've been rewarded and then it almost looks bad because you're not able to live up to it. Maybe what the mistake Arsenal made is this was a player that was bound to decline. That is why, and obviously Anita is going to be very, very annoyed with this, but that is why I do understand the Rudiger situation at Chelsea. It's very, very tough for Chelsea to give someone almost double the wages that he's
on a 3-year contract or something like that.
On a 3-year contract, and leaving him at the club at a time when he might not down tools, but he might decline.
He'll decline because of the age.
Yeah, and that happens in football. I'm not saying. I know. I'm just trying to compare it in it. Look at the examples, because Aubameyang's on the decline. It's clear. Like, we can see it.
How old is Rudiger compared to, because Aubameyang's like 32, right?
Rudiger's 30.
Okay, I didn't know he's that old. Not like it's old, but you know what I mean.
He's turning 30 this calendar year.
Yeah, I see.
Anita, you're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
He's 28.
Oh, see, now that he's
Rudiger.
He's lying. Stop giving false information, bro.
Yeah, you said 30. That's a big gap. Yeah,
I thought he was older.
Rudiger's in his prime.
Yeah. Rudiger's cool. He's 28. That's calm.
It's his last big. Obviously, we're not talking about Rudiger, but
going back to Aubameyang, guys. Honestly, right now, if you're going into a game and you see Aubameyang as a striker going into that game, or you see Lacazette or somebody else or Martinelli, who are you going to be more like? You know what?
I'm still more afraid of Aubameyang.
No, I'm more afraid of Martinelli. Martinelli's pace and his movement, and he's a better finisher now than both.
Well, maybe definitely Aubameyang over Lacazette. I don't rate Lacazette as a striker, goal scorer, good player.
I do.
But I'm like, if a chance comes to him, I'm not expecting to score.
No way. Lacazette,
no. As I said, if a chance falls to Lacazette, I'm not expecting him to score.
Yeah, Martinelli's the best.
Have you been watching Mr. Aubameyang?
No. I said I'm not expecting Lacazette to score. That's a Lacazette. On Aubameyang, in the form he's on, I think he has a big chance he can miss. But I still feel there's more. Like, forced him, I'm saying, Aubameyang, how'd you miss that? Lacazette, I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're not that great. That's the difference. I still have a high expectation of Aubameyang, whereas Lacazette, I never had it.
Guys, that's the exact opposite. Aubameyang, ever since even Emery days, was the guy who would need a lot of chances to score. He would still score a lot more because he puts himself, and his movement is better than Lacazette. Lacazette cannot bust his gut to get back into the penalty box. That's his problem. He will do all this great stuff building up play, but by the time the ball comes into the box, he's not even there because he's still doing his play back in the middle of play. Yeah, so it's like,
you know the thing with
I hear where you're coming from, but at the moment, if Lacazette was playing against Manchester United up front, or anybody else up front, or anybody in the future up front, you're going to see more movement from him and a better link-up play with the wingers. And if we have Martinelli, Lacazette, and Saka, it's going to get us more productivity right now than Aubameyang, who's out of form. Because Aubameyang, when he's out of form, he's utterly useless.
Exactly. There's two main points with it, and I think you will agree with this, Igal. One, everyone has seen it. Look, you guys play better without him. at the end of the day, there's other guys who are offering more and you play better without him. And two, if we're being honest, look, he should be strict to the captaincy. Like, he should be. Yeah, I don't know why Arsenal and Man United have just had a long-running problem with the armband. Like, you lot just keep struggling to find suitable candidates for the job. But
yeah, I think there's being a good captain, and then there's the issues with Aubameyang, and I don't necessarily think it's overly the money. It's just yeah. I mean, it is, but like there's professionalism. Do you get what I mean? There's an element of it. Sometimes you've got to put all your personal issues aside and go out there and earn your money. And
oh, sorry, I'm so sorry, but I'm just not all for the airing dirty laundry thing.
Thank you, Anita. I was waiting for someone to say this.
Like, I get Aubameyang's done something wrong within the team, whatever, yeah. But can you imagine, yeah, if, like, I don't know, if I'd done something to my man and then he goes on Twitter and tells people I'm on timeout. Like,
nowadays, isn't it?
do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
Wait, I don't get it. What do you mean? What do you mean?
But you're on a national stage, right? And someone in your team has disrespected the team and disrespected you, right? That is yours. That is still your team. You are the manager of that team. So for you now to go on a microphone in front of the entire, not just this nation, the world, and say Aubameyang has been dropped for disciplinary action.
He didn't need to do it. He could have said anything. He could
keep it in house. Yeah,
I'll go back to things like, I don't know, maybe it's not the best example, but I'll go back to things like Jose Mourinho. When Jose Mourinho and Ozil were fighting, did anyone know? Everyone knew after. When Jose Mourinho and Ronaldo were clashing heads, everyone knew after.
Yeah.
There's a similar situation. I thought he had a broken hand for months.
Can I just say before you come in, is that, and I agree, Arteta is a problem here. Arteta went from coach to manager at Arsenal in about 6 months. He is not a good manager. He might be a very good coach, but he's not a good manager. And because management comes also down to man management. And the number of players that he has fallen out with is as long as your arm. Now, of course, if the Premier League decides how long your arm is, up to your shoulder or down to your finger, I don't know. But it's a long, long list. And Aubameyang, the captain that you've decided as your captain, is one who you continue to fall out with. Arteta has to look at this and like, did I need to in the way that I did it as well, where he's like, I'm admonishing him in public about a breach of discipline and we don't accept that here. Of course, he's not going to get back into any form.
I hear you. I do hear that. The only the only thing I would say is depends how many of these things he's doing. So I believe in keeping things in house, and I've always said that. But what I've said we had it with Jose at Man United. Certain things he did not need to say. You know, Luke Shaw is using his body in my brain. That's a ridiculous thing because that's not even a disciplinary matter. That's just a kind of, those things don't need to happen. But it's almost a case of if Aubameyang, maybe he's only misbehaved on a disciplinary level twice, and it's wrong that each of those times Arteta is outed him. But what if this is happening frequently and it's almost I'm at the end of my tether with him because he isn't listening, so I am going to now out him because I can't keep. One of the things I read the other day, again, it was only on socials, is that the reason that they had to come out and mention that there's disciplinary issues is they were going to put it down to him being unwell. But then because he posted pictures of himself getting a new tattoo, that wouldn't fly. Because that means it didn't have anything to do with it. That's one of the things I read, like that he was going to be put down as being ill, as opposed to drop for disciplinary issues.
Say he had a knock. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, why did you do that?
Everyone has PR. Like, everyone has a PR team. I'm not a PR woman, but say he has a knock. Like, when all these players say they have a knock, I don't believe it.
But you're not understanding, though. My point is,
Jack Wilshere did not have a knock for all those years. I know that for a fact.
No. But even though I get that, and I'm all for it as well. You keep it in house, of course you do. Like, it just helps the whole situation. However, there does come a point as a manager where if someone's a repeat offender, you do kind of have to take a stand because you don't want to be taken for a mug
nationally.
If another manager who you respected did that, you wouldn't complain. I'm sorry, I just don't think you would.
No, the thing is, I would complain if Tuchel did that to one of our players. I will complain.
He was a repeat offender. No way.
I will complain.
I
No.
would be happy because
The
I
thing
trust
is,
my
the
manager.
thing is, wait. The thing is, right? At this moment in time, yeah, whether Aubameyang is a repeat offender or not, Aubameyang is still a part of that team. What does it say about the dynamic of the team when you are coming out to the press saying this man is a repeat offender, this man is
captain?
And the thing is, if you're gonna chat like that to the press, decaptain him then.
You can't do both. You can't play both sides.
I agree with that.
Right now, it just looks like a power play. It just looks like a power play.
The fan base wanted Aubameyang dropped. Anita, the fan base wanted the Aubameyang dropped. A lot of people wanted Aubameyang dropped. And if you guys know anything about Arsenal, they love PR. They dropped Bukayo Saka in a puppy midweek after we lost to Everton. So they love PR, okay? So this is another power play. This is to show that Mikel Arteta still has control of the team. And when he does this outing Aubameyang in public, Aubameyang, who's one of the most senior figures in the thing, it gives the fan base and the people who support Mikel Arteta to say, oh, he is still strong. But at the same time, the people who don't support him say, oh, Aubameyang is now Arteta out, and they're going to make more of it. I personally think it's somewhere in the middle. I think Aubameyang knows he made a mistake. I think the team still backed the manager, and the manager was doing it publicly to show everyone he is the man in charge.
And I hear that.
He has a pride.
I think there's great arguments on either side. I'll tell you who the funniest ones will be. It will be the Arsenal fans that one goal later and they'll forgive him and be like, because even though it shouldn't be aired publicly, maybe the fact that Arsenal fans shouldn't be forgiving him for me, but you will. You guys are the biggest cucks in football. And you definitely
can you bring up the super chat from Ronaldinho Go?
Ronaldinho Go. Where's that at? Oh yeah, it says, Arteta, the ego of Pep. With the level of Tony Hughes. I hear you on that. Comment here says Gabs is going to be a trailblazer. I'm excited to see what I think he means Martinelli is going to do. Aubameyang is past his best. Laka strikes me as someone who doubts himself, is what Timpy says there. We had some guesses of the phrase, but we'll go back to them a little bit later. They are starred and marked, so I won't be missing them. In terms of the game, though, Igal, are you going to beat, you're at home, are you going to beat West Ham? How confident are you of winning this London derby?
Okay. After the Everton game and after they beat Chelsea, on my end, I was quite worried. But off the back of the 3-0 win against Southampton and West Ham drawing 0-0 against Burnley, and also knowing in the back of my mind that in our last 11 out of our last 12 games against West Ham at home, 11 of those have been wins. Only one was where we dropped points. And I think midweek, we're going to continue to keep it rolling. I'm hopeful that we can go and we can win 3-1 versus West Ham. I think we can do it. I generally do. I think this West Ham team is a little bit overhyped. I don't think they're playing as well as everyone thinks they are. They're nicking wins. They're doing good. I hear you. They've done well against Chelsea. They've done well against some of the teams. But personally, Liverpool, I don't see all the hype. I don't think they're going to come to our house and boss the game. I think they're going to try to nick a win. And if we let them have a close game, then they will have an opportunity to win. But if we don't put our foot off the gas and we continue to go after we get the first goal, we can win this game 3-1. That's what I'm going for.
Just like with Everton, I hear it.
3-1 against West Ham, a team that have been better than you for the last year or so. That's a bit
interesting.
In fairness, West Ham have done very well against the big teams and struggled against some of the worst teams. So Gal's probably right.
If you want to say it that way,
I see.
I'll take the 3 points.
What makes you so confident though? Because West Ham have been, as Patrick said, they've been better than you for over a year. They don't really leak goals. Like, when was the last time they conceded 3 goals in a
they don't. West Ham, I think Dan Lawless told me a stat the other day. He said West Ham haven't lost by more than a goal for like a year and a bit. So they don't get beaten by teams like that. And this Arsenal team, not to be funny, guy, you lot aren't blowing good teams out of the water. So I don't see how you're gonna ship 3 past a decent West Ham team. It's
bro, I hear all that. Respectfully, I hear all that. But I feel like the reason why Arsenal have been bad, we are a victim of our own misfortune. We do it to ourselves. So at home, when we're going up against teams and we have the crowd to back us. We don't sit back as much. We don't let ourselves lose momentum in the game. We're going to try to push forward. We're not gonna result to what we were doing the past couple of games. And I'm hoping that we see a different result than what we've seen against Manchester United away and Everton away. What you guys got to realize is this is a home game versus West Ham. This is not away at the London Stadium. If this was away at the London Stadium, I'd be a lot more fearful. We're at home. At home, we are tied for the second best record in the league for home wins. Let's be real. I'm not as worried as you guys think it should be.
Or maybe as worried as you should be. We don't know. But I think I've taken the home factor into it, because if it was at London Stadium, I'd back West Ham to win. But I think because it is at the Emirates, I think I've gone 2-2. I think West Ham. I think there'll be goals in the game. I would like to see Antonio up against Ben White. That could be a bit of a massacre. Antonio puts himself about, and Ben White don't really like to be. Look, even Richarlison was winning headers and busting around the middle of at the back. So it's going to be an interesting battle between them two. But I've gone 2-2. I think Arsenal, you got a good record at home. I can't see you losing. But I think West Ham, they're going to come and get something. Because even though those games they've drawn, they drew the last game 0-0 against Burnley and then 1-1 against Brighton. They were, especially the Brighton game, they were by far the dominant side. And then they lost it. They drew right at the end. And against Burnley, of course, they created better chances and weren't able to break it down. So Antonio ain't scored in a few games, to be fair, but I think he could cause some problems.
I think it's a really good test. Look, I get you on your home record. Arsenal's home record has been very, very good this year.
And their away record, the last 3 games, they've only picked up 1 point in their last 3 games.
I hear you on that. I think there's a fair point. I would say the 3-1 is like a big stretch. You're not a team that generally scores. I know you scored 3 in the other game. You don't tend. I suppose you scored 3 at home 3 times this season, so there is some precedent for it. But West Ham don't seem to concede a lot. Also, the only other top team you played at home was Chelsea, and they beat you. And I'm not saying West Ham are as good as Chelsea. They're not. It's a really good test for Arsenal, this game, because of the form of West Ham and everything else. And you could beat them. I'm going with an Arsenal win, to be fair. I was bantering. I would go with an Arsenal win, but I'd go for something a little narrower, a 1-0, 2-1, something a little bit closer in that regards. And West Ham will definitely be in it. What are you saying, Neats?
I'm with Neeks on this one. I'm going for a draw. I don't see Arsenal losing, but I don't see West Ham giving them 3 points either. Because one thing about West Ham is that they fight to the end. That's something Arsenal, respectfully, they've lacked to do this season. They don't necessarily fight till the end, and it might get to a point where Arsenal, I don't know, you're leading 2-1, and then just because you switch off for that couple of minutes, which has happened quite a few times, you concede, and then that's just it, you know? I'm not too sure if Arsenal can keep up the momentum for the 90 minutes the same way West Ham have been doing throughout this entire season. Do you get? So I can't possibly see a win. If Arsenal do win, then, you know, calm. That's a London derby.
It's a great win if Arsenal do it. It's
a huge win for them. Because in my opinion, West Ham, they are, I think, top 5 clubs this season already, you know, like that's without a doubt. So if they do beat Arsenal, I mean, if Arsenal do beat West Ham, then that's kudos to them. But I think maybe a high scoring draw, maybe a 2-2 or 3-3. I'm just not sold that Arsenal will take it.
I hear you on that. Looking at the odds here that we have with our partners BV for this show, all the links for all of the major games. The only team we haven't included below is Spurs Leicester, because we're not too sure if that game's going ahead right now. 3-1 Egal, 17-1. The odds there, 17-1. I'm going to back you. I'm going to back you, Egal. I'm going to put yours in. I'm going to put a little £2.50 bet in there. It being 2-1. That'll give a return of 45 smackaroonies if that comes in. So I'm locking that in. The 2-2 draw, though, odds-wise, I mean, if Neat said, you said the high scoring draw there, 3-3, it's 55-1.
Wow. Hey. Jeez.
I might just stick a little £1.50 on that.
Yeah.
A little £1.50. Just
There's no harm in that.
There we go. Up next, we're going to be talking. What game should we do next? Let's have a little look at. Been struggling recently. But let's take a little look and have a little chat about Chelsea versus Everton. Neat, how are you feeling about that game?
Me? Oh, I don't want to say I'm not confident in it, because on paper, I should be confident. I should be fine. However, I'm just not 100% confident. I don't think Chelsea is in the right frame of mind at this moment in time. I feel like Chelsea, they have so much to kind of. 1 second, I'm streaming. Thanks. They have so many injuries still happening at this moment in time, and I do feel like with an Everton, we would miss a Kante, we would miss a Kovacic. Kovacic won't be back for that game, so I'm just not 100%. And then our attack is looking for Gazy right now again. In the last game, we had to rely on our defense to pull us out of it. I don't care what no one says. Mason Mount got the goal, yeah, but that was then cancelled out, you know. And then Rudiger had to get those 2 penalties, and it's like, what's our attack doing in this situation? Callum Hudson-Odoi, is Callum Hudson-Odoi going to come back into this situation? I don't know. Does Callum Hudson-Odoi play better when Chilwell is on that left flank? I don't know. Hakim Ziyech, is he going to be included in this one? You know, it's just, there are so many ambiguous factors for this match right now for Chelsea that I am not entirely 100% sure if we would be able to take the 3 points. And that's crazy. I know it's crazy because I know Daniel's probably going to come up here and say, yeah, we should be taking the 3 points. Why not? But I've got to factor in that this is December. Chelsea's history in December is not great. And then I've also got to factor in we have injuries. Our dynamic up front is not that great at this moment in time either. Something's missing. Something needs to click. If Rafa Benitez wants to bottle it for us again, I won't mind. You know, like, I won't mind. But at the same time, if Everton are on it and you saw the atmosphere that they created against Arsenal, if they're on it like that, I'm not entirely sure what will be the outcome.
I hear you. Daniel, sorry, I got a question for you first, brother. When is the safety coming off? Big 4-4.
I mean, what's so great is that, what's it called? What was I going to say? Yeah, what's so great is that it was another game that we saw Lukaku obviously not play, and that fluidity that obviously everyone had spoken to me about was clear that it wasn't there again. So I've told everyone again, the evidence is there. I've written an article on it. If people want to disagree, it's fine. The evidence is there for you to read. There are games where we've been fluid with Lukaku, and there are games where we've been fluid without him. There are also games where we haven't been fluid with him in the team. And Leeds was another example. Havertz had a big chance. He had one chance in that game, and he missed it. I said what we're struggling with, and Terry, if you want to echo my words, which I said, what's so funny is I said this after our 3-0 win against Aston Villa where he scored 2 goals. I said we cannot continue to rely on him to score 2 goals from 0.5 chances being created for him. Not enough chances are being created in this team, whether it's Lukaku up front, whether it's Kai Havertz up front, whether it was Pulisic who played up front briefly. Our chances or our system isn't tailored towards our 9. If there's one constructive bit of criticism I have for Tuchel, I think where our system works, where anyone can slot in and fill in and come in and do a job, I think our attack needs to be more stable. We don't have a stable attack where we have 3 players that we can call upon consistently to perform. There isn't 2 attackers right now, and Lukaku is included. Everyone, whether it be the system, whether it be whatever you want to call it, there aren't 2 attackers right now that currently play in our team that can put together 3 consistent games, whether it be
Conor Gallagher.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, it's not that simple, and I can go into that. So my point is
that a player issue, or is that a player issue though, or a system issue?
I think it's both. It's a combination of both. I think the players need to take more responsibility in terms of how they're performing, because as much as Mason Mount scored in the game, and Mason Mount's getting more production, I think Mason Mount didn't do enough in the game against Leeds. I think he didn't show for the ball enough, and he didn't do enough as a player. I think Kai Havertz had a great game against West Ham where he was linking up the play well, he was holding up well, he was playing well, neat touches here and there, and then had a very subpar game. But Timo Werner scores 2 goals, and meritocracy has been the name of the game under Tuchel. Scores 2 goals and gets an assist against Zenit, and was nowhere to be seen against Leeds. Like, he was awful, in fact, in that game. So what we need to actually focus on, or I think what Tuchel needs to focus on, is engineering a way in which he can get the most out of the system. And I personally think engineering a way in which you can get the most out of the player you spent 97 million on, whether or not it's the person you wanted, whether or not what was said was he's going to come in, the chances that we have been creating and that Timo Werner had been missing, Lukaku was going to come in and score them. We saw that for a little bit of the early period of the season, but we're not seeing that as much now. So in my opinion, I think he needs to take a look at that and try and engineer a way in which he can get the best out of it. If Lukaku is missing chances when the system is engineered towards him, then we can literally put the blame on him. But this is not just a Lukaku situation. When Kai Havertz plays up front, he doesn't get enough chances. When Timo Werner plays up front, even this year, he's not getting enough chances.
Yeah,
when Pulisic just had a little cameo. Sorry?
You know what I'd say?
Go on, Nick.
That, for 97 million, he needs to take a leaf out of Akon's book, put the blame on me. Well, I'm not going to get on more game Romelu today.
Yeah, that was good.
That time will come later. Christmas presents at the ready for him. Listen, I've been getting onto N'Golo Kante, carried by Paul Pogba in the World Cup final for 2 years at least. But the real issue is I've been getting onto Kante since the 2018 World Cup. But the real issue is that Kante's been injured. That is really it. Your midfield, it's not just Kante. Don't get me wrong. It's not just Kante. Kovacic is a part of it. But Tuchel's system, as much as you got the wing backs and the free defenders and the 2 10s behind the striker or the false 9, whatever, your midfield is the metronome. It is the engine of your system.
No,
one second, Daniel.
Quickly, let me tell you what.
No. One second. Since Kante's been out, the results have gone down the pan. And
this isn't the first time Kante's been out. This isn't the first time.
Exactly.
But as I said, it may not just be Kante. Obviously, Kovacic has been out as well. But you've been playing these different midfielders, Sound Gears, Loftus-Cheek, with Jorginho, and you've been struggling. Alonso started the season before Chilwell. You were getting results. So it's not Alonso.
Before both of you speak, right? I think, Neeks, you made a good point there. It's not just the midfield, Daniel. We have to acknowledge that as much as the wing backs have, made this system work so perfectly well, our midfield has also made this system work so perfectly well. Having Jorginho there he's amazing at what he does. He's a technical player, but he is amazing at what he does best. Having him there is a liability if he's not surrounded by Kovacic or a Kante, which is why in the summer I said Chelsea need a 6 as soon as possible, but we didn't get one. Fine, whatever.
Our best
but wait. But you talk about Kovacic, you talk about Lukaku and us needing to create chances for Lukaku. The person that was doing that very well was Kovacic. Kovacic leaves the situation and we're still struggling to find goals here and there. Do you get? So I do think it is a midfield issue, but at the same time needs to acknowledge the importance that our wing backs have.
Which wing backs are you saying? Because
I'm talking about Chilwell. I'm talking about Chilwell in particular.
No.
Because
But the way
Alonso has played one at the start of the season before.
Listen. If you want to listen, you can listen. But if you want to disagree,
no, you can talk now. Finish. You were just cutting over me, Daniel. You spoke for about 5 minutes. I spoke for 5 seconds. You cut in. That's all it was. Go ahead.
Because when I was still cooking, wait. Because when I was still cooking, the comments were clearly agreeing with me. You cut me off as well. So
Daniel, you were going for about 25.
Daniel, you were done.
Go on, Daniel.
I said my piece. When we're cooking, you have to let someone cook.
I said my piece. Go on.
Let him cook.
I can't wait to hear this.
The Terrace isn't made in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Cool. The point I'm trying to make now is when you're talking about a system, and this is why I'm saying I'm not afraid as a Chelsea fan to say that the strength of this team and the strength of Tuchel is based on the system, largely on the system, because there isn't a lot of individual brilliance. A lot of it is down to the system and how it's true. It's true. The system is hugely important to the way this team plays, and the wing backs are so key to that. The reason why Reece James, it might not work when he's the only one playing is because it's unbalanced. If you see the Watford game, you see the way where they attacked. The majority of the heat map was they attack down the left-hand side. And the reason why teams are attacking down the left-hand side is because Alonso is playing down that left-hand side. No one is disputing the fact that Alonso can contribute on the offensive side of things, where he's attacking. He can contribute to that. However, defensively, and even going forward, overlapping the wingers or the person who plays in the 10 position. He's struggling to do that at an effective rate. And that's just the point I'm trying to make. Of course, the midfielders are important, but the way the system works is it's balanced when we have two athletic wingbacks. Why do you think people are saying we need to bring back Emerson? Because Emerson would be perfect for two.
Ain't nobody saying that.
Because they're deluded.
Ain't nobody saying that.
I feel.
Can
Do you
I-
know what?
Bring back Baba
I
Rahman.
hear a lot of
No,
what you
nobody saying
say.
that.
Terry, can I
Yeah,
just say something quickly?
Yeah, go on, man. I was going to come to you next. Anyway, go on.
We've spent so long on this, and it's Chelsea versus Everton. Come on, man. It's all I've heard is excuses for the last 15 minutes.
Okay, let's talk about how you're out of the Conference League.
It's Everton at home. You're gonna beat them. Come on, they're
And
rubbish.
you guys struggle
So-
to
I
beat
agree.
whoever
It's-
you struggle to beat in the Conference League.
It's
Let's not
Everton,
do
it's
it.
I wanna ask
Everton
you a
at
question
home.
though,
Come
Patty.
on, man.
Patty, I
You're
want to
right,
ask you a
Patty,
question,
you're
mate.
right.
If they were to drop points again, would you mark Chelsea? Would you mark Chelsea out of the title race at that point?
Nah. Everton are not getting beaten by. Chelsea are not getting beat by Everton. That's going to be a convincing win. And I still see Chelsea as the favourites. I still mark them down as. I'm just hearing a lot of excuses. Your squad is very talented. You got a deep squad. You got a fantastic manager, but it's just excuse after excuse. You lot are going to be fine, man. Like it's too much. I'm surprised that you Chelsea fans are saying all of this. You're still right in it. And even though you've had a bit of a dip, you've got a favourable run in now, and Everton are rubbish. Like
The point is, we want our starting 11 in it for the longest period of time. In it, we relying on people to fill in for 10 games isn't. When you're talking about Liverpool and Man City, who aren't going to drop points, we're just a bit nervous that we might not be able to.
Nerves.
It's just nerves.
I'm just going to say this one thing, and I'm not even hating. Thomas Tuchel, this is where he makes his money. This is where he makes his money.
Yeah,
this is where he shows that he's the top manager that everyone says he is at this point, and everyone can critique him and everything at the end of the season. But at this point right now, we have still not seen the best Chelsea, and I'm starting to think that this could be the best you can work with until you get your players back. Once you get all your players back, which no team is never fit every single player for a long period of time, could this be the best it could be? Probably not. But is this the best right now? You guys are just winning games. You guys are just doing what you have to do, and you're not as lethal as Liverpool. You're not as lethal as Man City. There's still a step you guys can go, but you could also drop off. And I just want to see where you guys go from here.
And the
Because it
thing
can go
is,
either way.
we're probably not going to see the best for the rest of the season because Ben Chilwell's out, you know? Like, we don't know how long that injury is going to be. They're saying they're going to reassess the situation in December, see if he needs surgery. But to my ears, that's saying we're going to check if he needs surgery to see if he can fully recover on his own or not. Like, this Ben Chilwell is done for the season.
If you don't win the league and, Ben Chilwell is out for the whole season, who do you put the blame on for that? The Chelsea board, Tuchel, for not back? Because last season when Van Dijk was injured, we all said, including you and including myself, we all said, well, you should have got another centre back. You knew that Lovren was gone, Matip's injury prone, Gomez had the injuries. You can't put it down on Van Dijk. You should have got someone.
Exactly.
So
Bingo. And that's why I've been writing several articles about this. Chelsea need to buckle up, go into that January transfer window. If that means recalling Emerson, you recall Emerson. If that means recalling Ian Matson from Coventry, I don't care what people are talking about, saying that we need to let our youth develop. Chelsea are in crisis in that left side. If we need to recall a young Ian Matson who is flying for Coventry at the moment, if we need to recall him, we get him into this team. Chelsea have to take action in January. And I said this about Liverpool last season, and I'm saying the same thing for Chelsea this season. January is going to be very telling as to whether this board is serious if they want to win the Premier League. And if we do go out and we even break the bank and we go and get a Theo Hernandez, for example, unlikely, but if we do break the bank and go get him, I will be much more happier. And if we do lose the league after that, I will be like, okay, cool, whatever. We did whatever we could do. We just weren't good enough.
Your attack has been more of an issue because your manager needs to figure out, as Daniel said, who his front three is and which is the best unit to work with. Because until you sort that out, which he hasn't been able to sort out over the past 2 years, and you guys have still been good, we have to wait and see, because you guys could be scary if you guys step up a level.
Yeah, he's only been there a year, isn't he? In the 2 years. But I hear your point there. I hear your point there with Tuchel and everything else. In terms of bets, in terms of putting it on, what's the score going to be, people? What we going with?
2-0 Chelsea.
3-0.
You think we're keeping a clean sheet?
Everton are
It's Everton. They're
We have
awful.
conceded 6.
It's Everton are awful. Come on.
I like that. That's
Everton are
5. That's 5-1. I'm going to stick a little fiver on that. I'm going to
Mm.
put a little £5 bet on that. Gives a £30 return. That's locked in and that is done. The links for Chelsea versus Everton are in the description below. So go take a quick look at them. Let's just say Man United's game goes ahead. Let's just say Man United do play their game. What you saying, Neeks? Confident of beating Brentford?
It's going to be a tough one. Brentford, especially going away from home. Brentford are a good team at home. They're a good team in general, but they're a good team at home. Obviously, the crowd's going to be behind them. The intensity they play at. We have to play at a much better intensity than we did against Norwich. What's his name? Rangnick was talking about the front four and the lack of energy they were showing. That can't happen against Brentford. We do that against Brentford, no way we'll leave with 3 points. But I do feel, I know we don't have this, the day of training that we wanted, so it could affect that. But maybe an extra day's rest might benefit the team. We have to go with the intensity that we showed against Crystal Palace in the first half, especially. And I've gone 2-1.
Yeah, I feel with this game, look, I respect Brentford. I respect all the teams you come up against in the Prem, but I feel like Brentford could play into Man United's hands because they open up an attack. And we tend to do better. Forget teams like City and Liverpool opening up and attacking against us. They're just superior to us right now. But I feel like when the sort of the mid-table and below teams open up against teams like Man United, you always have that chance. Leeds are a great example of that. If you get where I'm coming from, they give you a bit of space to kind of toy with and play with. We have got to be brave, though, because the one thing I love about Brentford this year is they're brave from the beginning to the end of games. They don't. Chelsea, it looked like Chelsea were going to run away with it, and then they ended up almost getting back into that game. Mendy pulled off an absolute blinder. They beat the living daylights out of Arsenal in that opening game of the season. They went up against. Sorry,
they didn't really do that.
They beat you, mate. They dominated you. They beat you. They did. They came back against. They really did, bro. So they've had some good results. They did the way they fought back against. I'm not comparing us to Watford, but the way they fought back against Watford, shows their character. So I'm not going to disrespect them, but I expect this Man United team to go there and get those points, and it then puts a lot of pressure on West Ham and Arsenal and everybody else in the kind of top 4 race the following night because. We go back to 4th and it puts a bit of pressure on them, and it's an opportunity for us to move ourselves back into a Champions League spot. And we know how easy on paper this run in is until we play Man City in like March, so we have to capitalize on these things. But I think you're right, Neeks, that if that intensity isn't there, if we perform like we did against Norwich, Brentford will beat us because they're a better team than Norwich. So yeah, from my point of view, I'm a little nervous about it, especially with that day we're not getting that day of training in today. But I expect Man United to go there and win and score a couple of goals.
You're gonna win, Terry. But this you should be fearful of this team. I get it. This is probably your toughest game for the remainder of the calendar year. You have Brighton at home, Newcastle, and Burnley. So this is the.
When do we play West Ham?
What? You don't play West Ham until January.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is probably the most scariest game out of those next 4 games until the season's over. So I get that. But when it comes down to it, Manchester United is just going to win this game, be it a 1-0 or something. Ralph Ragnick's come in. This team is just nicking wins. I really do believe you guys are just going to go and get through it.
Yeah, well, we nicked a win against Norwich. We didn't nick a win against Palace or Arsenal.
You did. You won 1-0.
Yeah, but we dominated the game. There's a difference, bro. Sometimes you can win a game 2 or 3-0, but the game's really close. Sometimes you can be the dominant side and win 1-0. That's football. Like
you Palace, all three.
Palace weren't in that game at Old Trafford. They weren't in it. I
don't think they had a shot on target.
Yeah, they barely had a chance. They weren't in that game. We just weren't clinical enough in front of goal. But that wasn't nicking it. And against Arsenal, again, we were the better team. Do you know what I mean? You scored one of the weirdest goals that's ever happened in the Premier League, as an example. and then you created one opportunity after that and scored from it. Like,
Arsenal should have let you guys walk the ball into the net if they had any decency
about
them. Anything about them, innit?
Take a look. Take a leaf out of Bielsa's book.
Love it, man. If the hater wants to go down because his own player found him.
I'm sensing a lot of hypocritical conversations here.
Oh, what's that?
Hey, Gal, I got you.
What's hypocritical, Gal? What's hypocritical, Gal?
What?
What's hypocritical?
Hey, Manchester United, Old Trafford. If we're lucky to get a goal sometimes. Hey, I'm not going to even speak. You know what? Manchester United. There's been a lot of shady things that have gone down at Manchester United away.
Yes, but why is that hypocritical? Why is it hypocritical? What's the hypocrisy here?
What?
Where's the hypocrisy coming from? That's a big claim. What am I hypocrisizing myself about?
Give me a second to look up what the word means again.
Oh my word. I don't get it.
No. This is funny.
I was on your side, too. I was on your side.
I'm taking my allegiance back.
No. I'm joking. When Manchester United have been historically getting away with some dodgy dealings in the past at Old Trafford, whenever any of our teams go and face them, and Arsenal, God forbid, get a lucky goal. But guess what? By the rule of the law, your own teammate dropped him on the floor. There is nothing wrong with that goal that was scored.
You're misunderstanding me. I said lucky. Or like lucky, I didn't say controversial or undeserving goal. You did nothing wrong to get. What my point is, the only reason that shot went in is because David De Gea was down injured by his own player. It's never happened before in top flight football in 130 years. That's my point about luck.
And the only reason why
imagine scoring a goal, like you know the goal that Sunderland scored against Liverpool when it hit a beach ball and went in. That's a lucky goal, right? That's lucky.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
By the way, that was actually controversial because the rule of the law is that it should have been disallowed because the ball hits a foreign object on the field and goes in.
The hypocritical point that I was talking about was Nick saying same old Arsenal always cheating. I wasn't talking about you.
Patrick, remember Nani's goal against Gomez when
I love that.
Anyway, Manchester United. Going back to it, Manchester United won 3-2 versus Arsenal, 1-0 versus Crystal Palace, 1-0 versus Norwich. You're telling me you guys have not been nicking wins if you're winning by 1-goal margins. That's what I mean.
But like, Man City can win a game by 1-0 and they just
kill
you.
You're missing the point. I'm saying they're going to win it again.
I do think Man United have been not lucky or undeserving, but the wins haven't been convincing. Let's say that, innit? They've, like, against Norwich, for example, I do think Norwich, a better team, scores more goals in that game.
Yeah.
Potentially, obviously, it maybe elevates your level, so you have to score more goals. But I think in the Norwich game, like, the 1-0 win, not flattered you, but, like, it was like...
No, I hear what you're saying, Daniel. Norwich, we nicked it against Norwich. Palace, we deserve to win.
You deserve to win.
It doesn't mean
but then imagine Andre Ayew scores that goal where he should have scored. I said Jordan Ayew should have scored.
Then we would have won again 5-1 on ifs and buts. Because we had
But the whole conversation.
I think that. And I think the Arsenal game as well. I watched the game back a few times. Man United were opening Arsenal up, playing through Arsenal. It wasn't happening the other way round. And I think that's the difference to me. And I know there's this talk of, if you didn't get the penalty, you wouldn't have won. But we got the penalty because we were going for a 20-minute spell where we were opening you up. The one thing that bothered me about Man United, we didn't. And then we had 2 or 3 ifs and buts. We had 2 or 3 counterattacks after that where we should have put that game to bed. Even against Norwich, we had that chance that Rashford created for Ronaldo, and he kicks it over from 3 yards out. It's 2-0. We're not being said nicking it, but there's a lot to improve in Man United, and I think we did nick it against Norwich. But yeah, we need to be much better against Brentford. We had some super chats here. Terry, come on! Arsenal weren't the better team against Arsenal. United didn't really beat Arsenal, in my opinion. Arsenal beat themselves.
That's a fact.
No, that's just a funny thing to say. United didn't really beat Arsenal. So what did they do then?
Would you?
We slapped ourselves, man. We might have.
Gal, I think you're drinking out of that.
No, but Terry, my whole point was
it doesn't count as a rule of defeat if we say we beat ourselves.
Terry, my whole point was Manchester United have been getting results, right? And they're just going to get another result versus Brentford. They're just going to keep getting these results where it's like it's close games where they're only winning by 1-goal margins. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. That's not what I'm saying.
So what are you going to go with as a score prediction for this game, my bro?
1-0 again. Ronaldo
1-0 to
penalty.
United. What you saying, Neeks?
I said 2-1. Oh, I don't know who.
Anita, sorry, Anita.
I
Yeah,
get confused.
Anita, yeah, what you saying? Yeah.
For Man United, I'll go. Is Tony back? Is Tony going to be back?
He might be. I think he just got back from
December. I don't think so. On my fantasy anyway, it said 18th of December. So if Tony's not back, then I'm going for a 3-0 Man United.
Nicking it then. And it won't be a United win. United don't win games anymore. The other team beat
you guys. You're gonna nick it 3-0.
What you saying, Neeks?
Yeah, 2-1. I think we'll nick it.
Yeah, 2-1 as well. 2-1 as well to United.
2-1. Daniel?
Surprised.
I'm gonna go with Brentford, man.
Ooh.
It is Brentford at home, 7:30 evening game. They always raise their level. Do you know what I mean, against the big team? So let's go for a Brentford win. 2-1. Brentford.
Not a big team.
No, Brentford United, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you said at home against a big team. Isn't it just Arsenal?
And
Liverpool. Fair.
Yeah, Liverpool, Chelsea. I would
say Mendy was man of the match, isn't it?
What the difference? Isn't Brentford still suffering with the same injuries that they've been suffering with for the last couple of weeks as well?
Yeah.
Isn't that the difference? That's the difference there. And it's not like Brentford aren't leaking goals. That they are, leaking a few goals here and there. So I don't know, man. I feel like United, man. Terry, you already know how I feel about United already. Since Rangnick came in, I'm feeling good, positive vibes, and I feel like they're gonna nick it.
I'm on that Tim Sherwood thing.
Nah, but
Sherwood hates him, innit? What's
come on, man.
You weren't fighting for him.
Sherwood was like, why
we have to score goals. Like, looking at their last few games, right? They conceded 2 against Norwich, 3 against Newcastle. If Norwich are scoring 2 and Newcastle will concede scoring 3 against them, United have to be embarrassed not to score.
We can't look at football like that because the small teams always raise their game against the big teams.
I think they raise their game, but I think what normally happens is that only works when those teams shut up shop, play pragmatically, and are hard to break down. I think Brentford are so brave and confident in themselves, they're going to open up. And if teams like that leave space in behind for the likes of Ronaldo, Bruno's, Rashford's, they should be able to cap it. For me, we only lose or drop points in this game if we fail to take our chances. That for me will be the issue. I think we'll have enough openings to beat them. We just need to be on it, really. Score predictions, though. I'm going to go with you, Dan. What are you predicting to be in the score? I'm gonna give it to Brentford. I'm gonna go with the home team. What are you putting it? What are you guessing?
2-1 Brentford.
2-1 Brentford. I'm actually got to just change the.
So they're gonna nick it.
Brentford will nick it. Brentford are gonna nick it. I'm gonna wait for this to reload.
That's a battering. If Brentford win 2-1.
2-1 to Brentford. That's an interesting one there. What's the odds on that? 12-1. We'll stick a little £2.50 on that. We went with Daniel on that one. I don't always want to go for the favourite bets. People often think come out with things like your bias and you only Man United bias. I'm going to put a bet against Man United. That is locked in there.
Odds, I thought it would be more than that.
So do you get your money back if the game's postponed?
Yes, I would assume so. The game didn't go ahead, so normally the companies would do that. Yeah,
that's why you did that, didn't you?
No, it's not like that. It's like I listen to my panel and we put the different bets on. And remember, viewers, the link's in the description below if you want to do it. A little bit of a wrestling thing going on here during the conversation about Man United. KJ's turned up to have his. So what are you saying, KJ?
Oh, I was just chilling in the back and that. But you talk about nicking 1-0 wins recently, bruv. Ain't that what you were doing in your unbeaten streak, fam?
Yeah, and you weren't playing that well. You weren't playing that well. You weren't playing that well.
But that's the thing, though. You just take them, bro. You know what I mean? You can't sit up here like, we beat ourselves and look at your 1-0 wins. Fam, it is what it is. We're getting W's. That's all we care about.
I agree with you. But the thing is, you came on here thinking I was saying something different. That's the funny thing. You're making my point. That's what I was saying. You guys are literally getting results by any means necessary. And I think it's going to happen again. 1-0.
Okay. I'm just making sure there's no shade. I know what you like. You like to take off your Arsenal glasses and throw shade at everyone and put the Arsenal glasses back on. But in terms of Man United, it's going to be a tight one. I can see a draw,
Again,
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in fairness, Gal, you told us earlier on in the season that Brentford are a proper top team, so it won't be embarrassing for Man United to lose to them, will it?
No, that's what Sonny said, my friend. Don't mix me up with Sonny.
You said no. You said You said what Brentford did to Arsenal, they're gonna do to a lot of top teams. You said that. I remember those words.
Yeah, he did. I remember that too.
No, I said that. But the whole embarrassing thing.
Way,
that
if you
was
want to see
Sonny's.
the definition, if you want to see the definition of hypocrisy, that is it right there, my friend.
No, listen. Sonny was the one who said that drawing against Brentford is not an embarrassing result. I didn't say drawing to Brentford was not an embarrassing result. I still think, as a top team, anytime you drop points to a lesser side or a newly promoted side, it's embarrassing.
You didn't say that though, mate.
But didn't you also, if you said that, you've also said losing to Brentford wasn't that bad, no?
In the circumstances that we were in, we had COVID, we had a lot of players out.
We've got that as well. On. Yes.
We don't have any players out. You have
Martial's out. You know what I mean?
Because the kitchen lady has
COVID. Phil Jones is out.
Phil Jones got it.
Phil Jones is out.
What I've read about Phil Jones is brilliant in that dressing room. He keeps everybody motivated, does the music, does the oranges and everything else.
He gets paid very nicely.
There's a super chat here. Some super chats that I didn't put out earlier on. I just want to clarify these real quick. Is a secret phrase football Judas? No, it's not. Is a secret phrase homegrown players? There was one from Maria Williams earlier. It says, guys, have some respect and try and pronounce it properly. My Greek ancestors judge you. What were we saying? What word were we saying it was Greek?
It was the Omicron COVID variant. I was calling it Omarion and Omega 3.
All right, there we go. I didn't realize it was Greek, so that's why I was really confused by that. Question here:
that virus sounds like a flipping transformer, bro. Right.
Would you get Luca Digne from Everton in January to replace Alonso?
In a heartbeat, because Luca Digne does everything we need from him. Put balls into the box, can defend, is athletic enough to get up the pitch and get back down the pitch. So 1000%. And if people remember correctly, Tuchel actually wanted Alonso sold, but we didn't find the right club for him, or a club maybe didn't put in a bid for him. So we struggled to get rid of him. So he had to utilize him. And I think that's what he's done well. He's been able to utilize everyone in the squad. But there comes a point, like I've said on countless occasions, if you want to win the Premier League title, you need some sort of stability in your core. No Premier League champion of the last how many ever years has had to deal with unprecedented amount of injuries to their core. That is the point I'm making.
So because Chilwell's not there no more, you guys don't see yourselves as favorites anymore.
I didn't. You said no one said that. No one said that. I just said we need to deal with these situations better. And the way to deal with them better is to either get better personnel or get these players back from injury as soon as possible. That is it.
I hear you on that. Before we go, someone says, Terry, where is Jess? Jess was at like a 3-day festival in LA.
So Rolling Loud, something like that, I think.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So that Rolling Loud.
Yeah. So yeah, she's worse for wear today. So we'll be back later on in the week. Mangled is the word I would use. Mash up. Mash up. I spoke to her earlier on today just to see if she's coming on. She's like, no. Honestly, she sounded like Frank Butcher. Because that reference was completely lost on her. She's like, who the hell is Frank Butcher? I was like, ledge. But yes, so that's where Jess is at today. Thank you for asking, Tommy. We've got one more little special for everybody before we go today. So an ACCA was put together by BetVictor that they've kindly boosted for us and put it out at 8-1. 8-1 is pretty good odds. So that's on Man United, West Ham, Chelsea, and Liverpool to all win in these midweek festive fixtures. That is 8-1. The link for that, I think, is pinned to the live comment section. They put it down as Terry's ACCA, although I've actually predicted Arsenal to win. But West Ham, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, all to win at 8-1. So I am going to back that as they've created that and done special odds. By the way, on this ACCA, you won't get better odds anywhere else in the UK. It is the very best odds available for those 4 results as an accumulator. So I'm locking that bet in. It's pinned to the live comment section. So if you fancy having a bit of a responsible flutter, make sure you download the BetVictor app now. The links to do that, just click on any of our links and download it all, or use their website. Either's fine. Always do it responsibly, be over the age of 18, and always read those terms and conditions. But everyone, Really good show. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And sorry, I just read something made me die. What was I about to say? Big week ahead. Lots of match reactions this week as well. Watch along Thursday. First ever Football Terrace watch along in the studio as well. So we've got some really good stuff happening there. So viewers, make sure you stay with us. Straight Facts back tomorrow with myself and Lee. I'm really intrigued to get Lee Gunner's take on the Aubameyang thing. I've seen a few messages, a few Insta posts from him, and he seems to be back in Aubameyang. So that's going to be an interesting conversation tomorrow. Anita, thank you very much for coming on today. Daniel, Patrick. By the way, Patrick, your Ferrero Rocher are completely untouched and unscathed in the studio.
I like that.
I didn't eat them.
Good man.
So they're still there. Neeks, pleasure as ever. Igal, thanks for coming on and blessing us with your pleasant presence as ever. KJ, thanks for making a sort of Stone Cold Steve Austin appearance there right at the end. I did used to watch wrestling. That's why I get the reference.
Booker T in honor of Neeks in it.
Listen, until next time, people, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all.